traded swaps to bring these swap trades to the exchange and put it into the exchange and register it with the exchange for clearing. Once it's registered as clearing, the exchange would then come in between the two counterparties as a risk guarantor between the two different parties. So now the swaps are free of counterparty risk. Okay? And in May 2002, Clearport was launched, and as you can see, it's been a very steady pickup in terms of people registering their swap trades into Clearport for clearing. And just around, and if you look at this chart, as the volumes grew, they grew to about an average daily volume of about 300,000 contracts a day. And then guess what? In August 2008, Lehman Brothers exploded, as you know, and that spiked the volumes up to 500,000 contracts a day in clearing alone. So increasingly, a lot of commercials and traders are realizing that there is a space and a need for clearing. They may not clear every single trade, but they will definitely clear trades in which they would be concerned about the counterparty's risk. That has not been lost on Asian commercials. Asian commercials in the region, the energy players in Asia that trade typically the Singapore petroleum type products. Clearport volumes for that have also grown. This is a one-year chart from August 07 to November 08. They've gone up by about 7 to 8 times. The base is small, but the trend is there. That this is becoming more and more a standard trend. So having said that, just to share with you, with the acquisition of NYMEX, Clearport is now part of the whole CME group. And we have launched a series of different products for clearing only. Most of these products are probably not relevant to the Asian trade. They are more relevant for the trade in the US, like for example the corn basis swaps that are traded in northwestern Iowa, northeastern Iowa. Typically the domain of ethanol plants that buy a corn basis swap. Some of them are already registering their swaps on the exchange for clearing. As we move forward, we will begin to roll out swaps that are relevant to Asia as and when there is people using these swaps, and we'll allow customers to send their OTC swap trades for clearing. Okay. Besides clearing of swaps, we've also launched a couple of interesting products, I would say, where these products were actually requested by the community in Chicago for us to list for trading. One of them is the calendar spread options. As many of you probably trade, you trade the spreads, and I think one of the most popular spreads that is traded today is basically the old crop, new crop spread, right? So for example, like for the beans, you'll be trading the July-November. For the corn, you'll be trading the July Ds, and so on and so forth. So there's actually demand from people that they like to see options on these spreads. Okay, so we've actually listed a series of options on these spreads, and over time we believe that these products will gain traction. They are available and they're traded in the pit as well as electronically as well. Yeah. So now you no longer need to take market risk on the spread itself. You can take a risk on the spread through an option. Okay, if you're already familiar with trading options. I put in 3 slides, which you can read at your leisure through your booklets. And I wouldn't spend time going through this because I want to spend more time with the audience on the website, because I think many of you have questions on the website that I like to just run through. But as a commercial, I mean, there are many ways in which you can use this, and in fact, it does mitigate your risk to some extent. Like say, for example, I give you an example. Say you believe that the new crop soybeans is going to be tight again. Okay, and especially it will become tight around next year in say June, July. Okay, and you believe that the new crop, old crop spread, the July 2010 soybeans will become inverted against the November 2010 beans. Okay, so say for example you have this market view. The spread today, last I checked, is around 30 cents inverted. Okay, you think it's going to go higher, and you're looking to actually, and you're looking towards your own company's needs in terms of meal or beans, for example. But yet at the same time, you're either through your company's risk management policy, you're not allowed to trade the spread, or you may not be able to forward contract all the way until June, July. On top of that, you may not even want to forward contract because you feel the overall market is going to be impacted by negative news and the whole market will go down, but you believe the spread will widen out. Meaning to say, old crop's going to be tight, new crop's going to be very heavy, but the whole market's going to still come down because of various bearish influences. So you don't want to go long June soybean meal, for example. So instead of, there's a couple of ways. You can actually trade the spread. So you could go long July spread and go long July and go short November beans to take advantage of that. Or you could trade in an option. So for example, if you were to trade in the 30-cent option, you pay a premium on that 30-cent option. Okay, if the spread were to widen, it's like an option. You buy a call option and the value of your call option goes up in market value. If you're wrong, the market goes into a carry, then you obviously will lose that premium as a buyer of the option contract. Okay, I'm not here to give a session on how options work, but in general, it's one additional tool in your arsenal of various risk management tools that you can use to capitalize on an opportunity or to hedge your physical risks. Okay. I'll pull up a couple of screens later so you can actually see. You can actually get these prices off the screen. Okay, and I'll pull up a couple of screens for you to have a look at the end. Okay. So you can do this for wheat, corn, and soybeans. We have all of them, and meal as well, because the audience here is interested in meal. Okay, so that's for the calendar spread options. On 3rd of August, about a month ago, we've listed any crushers out here. Soybean crushers? Nobody, right? I reckon. Or over there. Okay, so you'll be interested to know that. We've listed soybean crush spread on the exchange. Basically, it does your bean crush or the reverse crush, depending on whether you buy the crush or you sell the crush. It's quoted like you're probably familiar with the crush, so it's quoted in terms of dollars per bushel, and it's basically the difference between the prices of soybeans versus the price of meal and oil. So in that sense, you now actually can see the crush on screen. You can actually see the value there. The crush is, without getting into complication, is an implied crush, meaning to say that you can key in a crush value into the crush itself, and it's tradable against another value, or it can be implied from the soybean meal market, the soy oil market, and the soybean market at any one point of time. Okay? In other words, it takes the prices from the 3 underlying markets and calculates a synthetic price that then feeds into the crush, the crush bid or ask spread. Okay? So one additional tool for crushers and people who want to trade the crush, you now no longer need to leg the crush like how you would do in the markets. But you can actually just trade the crush spread itself, and your traded crush spread will link itself into the outright markets. Okay, so in that sense, a reduction in legging risk. Yeah, and these are the soybean crush spreads that are available as well for that are listed. Okay. I shall skip this. This probably isn't relevant, but we've increased the futures depth to 10 deep now instead of 3 deep, and we'll probably intend to increase the options depth as well. Many of you will know that the overnight hours, or rather our ASEAN hours now, have been extended from instead of a 6 a.m. close in Chicago, it's now closing at 7:15 a.m. So we've increased it by an hour and 15 minutes every day. Okay, and here's just a chart on the hourly breakdown in